What's up, everybody? Cole from Geek Life Gaming coming at you with another Geek Life Gaming deck profile. As you can see, today we're working with the Transformers TCG again, and we're working with Dinobots. Now, a lot of you have already noticed I don't have Grimlock. I have not pulled Grimlock, none of my friends have pulled Grimlock, and I'm not about to spend $60 to $65 on a Grimlock. So for right now, I'm running without him. So my lineup that I run Slug, Sludge, and Snarl. We'll start off with Slug since he has no effects to discuss. His ult mode isn't bad, 3 power, 3 defense, 13 health. He's pretty good. He's a melee character, so you can equip him with any melee upgrades that you might be running. But then when you flip him to his bot mode, he gets incredibly strong. You double his power to 6 power, however, his defense drops to 0. So once he is in that mode, the only way you're going to be defending any damage is if you check some blues when you're checking the top of your deck. Very good powerhouse. He's cleaned up quite a bit for me, but he is susceptible to being knocked out incredibly quickly as well. Next up, we're going to discuss Sludge. He's a really nice specialist. He's got 4 power, 12 health, and 1 defense. When you flip to his ult mode, his ability activates. You can move any number of damage counters from your other Dinobots to Sludge. So if some of your key Dinobots are taking damage and you want them to last a little longer, you can move some damage to Sludge and have Sludge soak it up for a little bit. Then on his bot mode, he's got a really interesting effect. He is arguably also out of the 3 Dinobots that I run, he arguably has the best ult to bot mode transition, where in ult mode he's only got 4 power and 1 defense. As you can see in bot mode, he's got 5 power and 2 defense, so he actually adds 1 both times. And then his ability is arguably the best ability that the Dinobots have other than Grimlock's. It's when one of your Dinobots attacks, you can repair 1 damage from it. That includes Sludge himself, so as long as you can keep Sludge around, you can repair your damage from your other Dinobots little by little. Snarl is the last one on my lineup. He's pretty good. I believe he is an uncommon. He is 4 power, 2 defense, 9 health. So he's a little on the weak side when it comes to health. He'll get knocked out really fast if you don't take care of him. When you flip to his ult mode and you have no cards in your hand, you can draw 2 cards. So that's pretty handy. He's really good if you have if you draw on your turn. If you draw into a card and it's an action or upgrade and you play it and you need something more you can do, you can flip Snarl from bot to ult and you can refresh your hand by 2 cards. Then his bot mode, he increases his attack by 1. However, his defense stays the same and he's still got 9 health. When Snarl attacks, you may put a card from your hand on top of your deck. So that's not that bad. If you have a really good card in your hand that's got 2 orange on it and you're trying to get some extra damage across to knock out one of your opponent's bots, with his ability, you attack with him and then you can place one of those right back on top and get yourself some extra damage in. So that's the whole lineup. We have once again, Slug, Sludge, and Snarl. And now we'll get to the battle deck. We'll start with the upgrades first in no particular order. First, I run 2 data pads. He's very similar. It's very similar to Snarl's effect, except so it's a utility. So you have it in the utility slot. When the upgraded character attacks, you draw a card. Then you may put a card from your hand on top of your deck. So that second part's really kind of close to what Snarl does. So what you can do if you have the data pad on Snarl, you can go ahead and when Snarl attacks, you can go ahead and draw the top card with data pad, and then if it's a blue card and you have 2 orange cards in your hand still, you can use the data pad and you can use Snarl to put those on top. Utility card. It combos really, really well with Snarl. The next up we have 2 multi-tools. I run quite a few upgrades, so I like to run the multi-tools when it's a weapon and when you put it on a specialist. So in this case, either Snarl or Sludge. Well, Snarl in his Actually, no, not Snarl. My bad. Snarl's a melee. Swoop is the other specialist. So the multi-tool, when put on Sludge only, you can then play another upgrade from your hand. So, I mean, getting 2 upgrade plays a turn for the price of 1, it's pretty good. And it also increases Sludge's power by 1, too. So it's not that bad of a card. Next up, we run 1, 2, 3 Piercing Blasters. It is a white card. It is also a weapon, and it does not offer attack or defense in any way, but it does give the bot that it's equipped to Pierce 3. So that really, really helps when you're trying to get damage across on one of your opponent's key characters, like if you're going up against a Megatron, a Nemesis Prime, Optimus Prime, Battlefield Legend, or even Cosmos. Being Cosmos has the strongest health in the game, or the highest health in the game right now at 21. It's really good when going up against Cosmos because you're guaranteed damage no matter what. Then we have 1, 2 Primary Laser. It's a nice little blue card. It's just a generic weapon upgrade, but it offers 2 power, and it can be equipped to anybody, so that's why we run that one. Then we have arguably one of the best weapons in the game, or best generic weapons in the game, the Grenade Launcher. I only have 2. If I had 3, I'd be running 3, but I only have 2. And I run them both in my Dinobots. So it's an orange card. It offers 4 power to the Dinobot, or to your to the character card that it's attached to. But after you attack with the grenade launcher, you scrap it. So it's really good to get a very good, powerful attack in, maybe even knock out a bot, but then it disappears. It'll come back around once you shuffle your deck if the game lasts that long, but it's really a one use for some spectacular damage. I like equipping the grenade launcher to Slug when he's in bot mode because he's already at 6 power, and that grenade launcher offers another 10, or offers him up to 10, and so that's just a really, really nice power piece for Slug. Next up, we have the Improvised Shield at 2. It's a double orange, so it's a really, really nice card to draw into when you're attacking. It's an armor upgrade, and it offers tough 1, so you can draw, or you can flip an additional card when defending. So that's not bad. I run that as a 2 of. I might bump that one up to 3 after I get a few more games in if I'm lacking orange and I'm not seeing enough of it, or if I just need to be able to flip more on the defense. I might add in a 3rd one. I'm not sure yet. Next up, we have a 3 of, and really necessary for this deck, Jaws of Steel. Orange card. It can only be put on Dinobots, and it's got bold 2. It is a utility, so it's not eating up any of their weapon or armor slots. And so bold 2, you'll flip 2 more battle cards when attacking. And so that is a base of 4 for any of the Dinobots. However, if you also flip any whites with that, you're now flipping 6. So it's a really, really nice card, especially for the Dinobots like Slug, even Sludge, and most importantly, Grimlock. Next up, we have 2 Inspiring Leadership. So Inspiring Leadership is a blue card. So we're into the actions now. I just realized. So it's a blue card action. You draw 3 cards, and then you scrap 2 from your hand. So if your hand's not looking great and you don't care for the cards that you have in your hand, you can draw 3 new ones. And then if you really don't want either any of them in your hand, you get rid of 2 of them, and then you can. So you're tailoring your hand a bit. That's not a crime. The card says you can, so you're not cheating. But I only run 2 of those because it may thin out the deck too much, and there are cards that I would like to see flipped. Like the Improvised Shield is one. A lot of the orange cards, I would like to see those flipped. And if they're out of the deck by being in my hand, that's less of a chance of me being able to see them. Next up, we have 2 Leap into Battle, a blue action. I only run 2 of this, and what it does is one of your characters gets 3 power until the end of turn. It's a really good action early game to get some extra damage across, or if you equip a grenade launcher to Slug and bring him up to 4 power, you can use Leap into Action to bring him up to 13, which is a hilariously high attack number for this game. And that right there can knock out a lot of the weaker characters on its own, not counting if you flip any oranges on the attack. Next up, we have 2 Repair Bay. Really nice orange action. You repair 1 damage from each of your characters. This one is another one that might also get bumped up to 3. The Dinobots, especially Snarl, he gets picked on a lot, having only 9 health. And he can get whittled down fairly fast. As can Slug. Slug doesn't have anything really protecting him unless you have any armors on him. So the repair bays at 2 right now, it might go up to 3 simply because Slug and Snarl do get beat up a lot. And there's not a lot... There's nothing protecting Slug, and then Snarl, once he starts losing life, it's in 2 attacks, Snarl can be knocked out completely, and that's not good. Snarl's a really good unit to have on your team. So that might go up to 3 as well. We have 2 One Shall Stand, One Shall Falls. I do only run 2 of this one deliberately because I feel like 3 is overdoing it just a bit, especially with the low, especially if Slug gets knocked out first, and then I'm left with Sludge and Snarl. I don't want to put much damage on Sludge if I can help it, because he's healing my other Dinobots as long as he's in bot mode. And then I don't want to put too much on Snarl, because I can put Snarl into the range where my opponents can knock him out. So we only run 2 of the One Shall Stand, One Shall Fall. And what it does, you choose one of your characters and an enemy character, and you do 3 damage to each of those. So it's a lot of the time I use One Shall Stand, One Shall Fall to knock out an opponent's weak bot. Or if I can't knock it out with the One Shall Stand, I'll end up knocking it out with the attack. So it's a really nice setup for knocking a character out. Next, we have 3, another important action in the deck, Dino Chomp. It is a rare action. I just got my 3rd one. It's a blue action. To use this, you scrap your entire hand when you activate it. And then one of your Dinobots gets bold 5 until the end of the turn. That is spectacular. So now you're flipping 7 cards, not counting any whites that you may flip. So it's really good. It's a good action to use at any point in the game, but preferably when your deck is at its most full. So maybe after a refresh, that's when you really want to activate Dino Chomp, because then you're maximizing the amount of oranges that you could flip on an attack, and it is just a spectacular action card for Dinobots. Next up, we have 2 incoming transmissions. This is another draw card. I only run 2 of these deliberately as well because I don't want to be drawing too much. And so with incoming transmission, you draw 2 cards, then you put a card from your hand on top of your deck. So that's really good for stacking the top of your deck. It works really well with Snarl. You can set up some big plays with Snarl that way. But I only run 2 of those because I don't really want to. I personally don't really want to draw too much in this deck. Next up, we have new designs. I run this deliberately at 2 as well because I run more actions than I do upgrades, but occasionally when I want to get 2 upgrades on the field at once, that's what the new design is for. It eats your action, but it allows you to play another upgrade. Next up, we have my favorite card in the Dinobots that has secured me victory more than once. I still function. I really want this to be at 3, but once again, I only have 2. But I really want I still function to be at 3. So you return one of your KO'd characters that has 12 stars or fewer to the battlefield, and you repair 1 damage from it. So it'll be at 1. And then at the end of the turn, you KO it again. So it's back for 1 turn, and then it's gone. But I've comboed that where with Slug, bringing Slug back to put in some real damage, or even Snarl. I've brought Snarl back with it before, so that way I could flip him and get some high attacks in there. The best situation that I've ever had with I Still Function. I used I Still Function on the turn. I attacked. I flipped my cards, I ran out, and I shuffled everything back in, and then on the very next turn, I drew into I Still Function again. So I didn't even have to use Sludge, and I just used I Still Function, and it secured me the victory. So I really want that to be at 3 at some point, but right now I only have 2. Next up, we have another action. We have 3 Ready for Actions. Really, really good card for this deck, seeing as none of the Dinobots that I'm using are over 10 stars. So you just untap one of your characters that has 10 or fewer stars. So this is a really good combo, or not even a combo piece. This is a really good setup for later in the attack phase, when later in the turns when it's getting to the point where all the characters are going to be tapped and they're going to untap. You can untap one of yours and get an extra attack in before all the characters untap, and then your targets are gone. So Ready for Action's a very handy card, especially with Slug. You can stand Slug back up to get another powerful attack in. Next up, we have 3 of the orange action, Ramming Speed. I'm not going to lie, I originally put this in there because it's got Grimlock on it, and he's awesome. But it's not that bad of a card. It's orange, so it offers you power on the attack, and you scrap any enemy upgrade. It doesn't matter if it's a weapon, a utility, or an armor. You just get rid of it. So you can get rid of those pesky upgrades that are really stealing the game away from you, like Force Field or any of the character-specific upgrades, or even Matrix of Leadership. It will just get rid of it, and that's why I run that. And then last, we have 2 actions, rounding out the battle deck to 41 cards right now, and it is Plasma Burst. Do 2 damage to an enemy. This is in the same boat as One Shall Stand, One Shall Fall. It's good for setting up a knockout or just completely removing a character. And so that is why I run that. So if you liked it, let us know what you think. I mean, obviously, like I said, I would prefer to be running Grimlock in here, but I do not have Grimlock yet. And so that's the lineup that I chose with. So if there's any suggestions you'd have to add to the battle deck, or maybe even change the lineup a bit, let us know. Once again, this was Cole from Geek Life Gaming, and we'll see you next time.